My name is Naila Ellis-Brown, and I am the maker of Ellis Island Tea, which is the only bottled Jamaican sweet tea in the country.
And the only African American woman running a beverage
Yes,
company
yes,
in the
owning and
country.
operating a beverage production facility in the country,
And that beverage facility is right here.
in the city, like 5 minutes from here, from the studio. Yep.
A few years ago, you were in the back seat of a car in New York City. Was it your dad's car?
Yes,
And you were writing down your grandfather's tea recipe.
yes,
And then the result has become your company.
yeah.
Tell-
Sam's Club.
Yeah, you're in Sam's Club. How did you go from writing down the recipe to having an exclusive deal with Ellis Island Original Jamaican Sweet Tea in Sam's Club?
So that's always a really hard question to answer because I literally don't know. Everything's been trial and error from day one. We just tried different stuff. Whatever didn't work, we stopped doing it. Whatever did, we kept doing it. And just giving this thing my all. Blood, sweat, and tears from day one. Started out selling tea out of my trunk. Well, first I had to master the recipe. So I made it every day for an entire year when I moved back to Detroit, living in my mother's basement. The first time I made it, it was horrible. The color was brown. It's clearly a red tea. The taste was awful because it's never been written down. My father knew it by memory. And so it took me forever to get the recipe right. And then from that point, it's like, okay, now what? I know I want to be in stores, but how do I do that? Well, I've always been selling something. I was that kid in middle high school that was walking around with a duffel bag selling chips and candy to classmates. And so I knew how to do that. So next step was, okay, let me load up my cooler and drive around the city. And wherever I saw people, I would get out and try to sell it. And then from there, I had to look myself in the mirror and say, never again will you sell tea from a cooler. If you want to sell, it's got to be in a store. Because I realized I was running from the fear of walking in a store and being rejected. And so I grew the nerves to walk into a Whole Foods. My hands were shaking. My labels were still business cards taped to a bottle. No barcode, no nutritional information. And the guy like laughed at me. And he's like, yeah, you've got a long way to go. First of all, where's your nutritional facts? I'm like, man, I didn't think about that. So then I went and figured out how to get nutritional facts. Then the barcode, and then the applications to get in these stores is like a foreign language. And I knew nothing, no experience in food and beverage. I just, one line at a time, called around asking people, would go to the store and say, hey, what does this need? And have different people help me fill in the application. That took about a year. Then from there, I just start getting all these calls. Whole Foods Detroit ended up moving here, and they called and said, hey, we want you to be our featured local beverage in our new store. Are you up for that? So I'm like, absolutely. And then from there, like today, I'm still the top selling local drink in Whole Foods Detroit. And then from there, like today, I'm in over 600 stores across the country.
You have your own, exclusive labeling, bottling right over on Clay Street, and now you're in Sam's Club. How did you get into Sam's Club? Because Sam's Club only takes quality products that are going to sell, and they wanted you. How did it happen?
So I was presented with an opportunity for a makeover by MSNBC, and as a part of that makeover, Sam's Club considered bringing me on. They gave me an opportunity to fly out to their corporate office and pitch, and I was like, I don't recall ever being that nervous in my life. And I do this all the time. I pitch in my sleep. This is what I do. And the fact that it was Sam's Club, Sam's wasn't even a wish list item because of the fact that it was so unrealistic. Like I never saw Sam's Club giving me time of the day. So when I was presented with the opportunity, I'm like, yeah, of course I want to pitch. And then I started doubting, well, what if this, what if that? The packaging is too small. They're not gonna, like, my pricing is high. I started doubting, but I just did it anyway. And in that pitch, when they tried it, because a lot of these stores, you would think it's about the taste and the product itself, but it's about everything but that. But with Sam's, it was all about the taste and the quality of the product. And when that team, I presented to like a room full of like 10 people, and when they all popped those lids, my heart skipped. And when they tried it, they They were trying to poker face it, but I can tell it was hook, line, and sinker.
We'll link the MSNBC business makeover to this so you can watch it. Here's what I wanted to ask you about that, because there's a lot of good people on that program trying to help you, giving you really good advice. But what I liked about it, you stayed true to yourself and your gut the entire time. That had to have been hard.
It was extremely hard.
Because they wanted to make changes. And
And
that's
these are
kind of like
people that are
changing you,
experts.
and
Yeah.
you wouldn't let them do it.
Yeah, and with them being experts, I just felt like, well, maybe what they're saying is right because they're experts. Scott Miller, who mentored me through the makeover, he's got experience of over 10 years in the beverage industry. And for them, all of them, to say, hey, our suggestion is this change, and to go against that, it was hard because I don't know how to explain it. I just didn't feel like it was the right thing to do. I loved this packaging, but the name,
The different names didn't
yeah,
fit what you
it
had
just
created.
didn't- yeah,
This is yours.
yeah.
Yeah, and you're running with it now.
Yep.
Way to go.
Thank you.